to try a long tail beaded cast on. Um, so I'm only going to do, I want to do a triangle swag. I'm only going to do one swag because I've done some of these and they look like Christmas trees. So I'm going to start with, oh, I don't know. I'm going to count that fat bead as 2 beads, so that's 3, 6. Let's start with 8. So I'm going to have 8 on the tail. The tail's kind of beat up, so I'm leaving an extra long tail besides the part I need for knitting. Of course, I just lost that. 3, 6, 8. Okay, there's the tail. And it's a long enough tail and don't need a stopper. I'm using 4mm needles just because I had them on hand, because they're really the right size for this. And I'm only going to do 2 stitches on each side of the swag. So let's see. There's 1, there's 2, and now I'm bringing up the 8 beads, and I'm also bringing up, I should have culled that one, but this is a practice, so I'm okay. I should have culled the big one. 2, 3, 6, 8. Now I need to slide those stitches down and kind of hold these back while I cast on the last 2. There's 1. Make sure it's nice and snug. And do another. Okay. That's a long tail cast on. I could cast on as many stitches as I wanted here, as many as I wanted here. I could keep going, add more swags, whatever. But I'm gonna try making the Christmas tree. So, let me think. Do I want to knit or purl? Do I want the stockinette? No, I'm gonna make it garter stitch. And I'm going to do a garter stitch selvage, I think, because there are only 2 stitches, so. Actually, to make it a square, no, I'll stick with 2 stitches for now, but I'm thinking of adding a stitch with each swag. Alright, so last time I did 8, so now I'm going to do 7, 4 and 3, there's 7, and I'll do 2 rows of 7, and these beads are pretty snug on this yarn. It's a pretty tight fit, which is good, I guess. I'm sort of going to hold the beads back while I knit the stitch, and then I'll snug it up, make sure that swag is snug. My edges are always loose. I gotta learn what it is that I'm doing wrong. Alright, so that was 7. I'm going to turn around. I'm going to do 7 more. But this time I'm going to add a stitch on each side. And I'm thinking each time I decrease a bead in the middle of the 2 rows, I'll add a stitch. And that way the edges may be a little more square. I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to keep going, and this while I'll add a stitch, and then I'll keep going, then I'll turn the video off. Alright, so I want to add a stitch, so I think I will, can't knit the parent, so I'll knit one, oh, I caught the yarn, and then I will knit into the parent of this stitch. It's easier if I lift it. What is this, a left lifted increase, I think. Might be a right lifted increase. This is the leading leg, so that's what I want to knit into. No, I don't. I want it coming out the same way this is. So I'll knit into the front leg. Knit the 3rd stitch. And pull up the 7 beads. first stitch, knit not into the stitch, not into the one that was just on the needle, but the one that was previously on the needle. And I want to go in the way the other stitch was going in. So I'm going into the back leg of this one. And I'll knit the third stitch. Alright, so there's my swag developing. Each pair has one in front and one in back, because these are always on the purl side, and I'm knitting every row so the purl side alternates from side to side. Okay, I'm going to keep going, and I'll record when I get a little farther on. I learned that after the swag, if I do the stitches on the one side and then put my needle in after the swag and then slide the beads up, I'm a lot more comfortable. So I'll show you the 2 swag. Let's see, I've done 3. Now I need to do 3 on this one, and I'm also increasing. Here's 1. Here's my lifted increase. Go in the way the legs of the daughter stitch, the child stitch, go into to the parent. There we go. That was the parent. Here's the regular stitch. And now I want to do 3 beads, so I'm going to stick the needle in and then slide the beads and then make my stitch. And then I'll do the lifted increase here and go in the way the legs are going in. Yeah, I got the whole yarn. And then the last stitch. Okay, here's how it's looking so far. Every row is doubled. Let me spread that out a bit. And so there's a dimensionality. I can sit it down and I have rows on each side. So when I'm done, this is going to make a little tree. Actually, it looks like it's going to be a tree with wings. That could be interesting. I could make like an angel dress and make wings and maybe do a couple of picots on the top to make them pointy and do something to make a head. That could get interesting. We'll see. Okay, I'm about to do the 2 swags of 1. Of course, with 1 bead, it's not really a swag. And I've been looking at this, and I think what I'm going to do is not increase this time, and instead on the second row I'll decrease, and then I'll knit some more rows and I'll decrease along the edges and make this into something like a circle. Probably won't turn out completely round, but I think that might be nice. So let me do the last ones. And that also lets me avoid the issue of how do you get beads in this row when you're casting off. That's a difficult problem, and I haven't found a way that it looks right yet. So, let's see, this is the first row, so I'm not increasing or decreasing. Alright, I'm just going to stick it in this stitch, and then bring up the bead, and then complete the stitch. There we go. There's that little bead. It always seems to be on the back of the work because it's on the purl side when you're knitting. There are ways of getting the bead to the knit side. Alright, this is my last single bead. And I would normally increase here, but I'm going to decrease instead. So I'll knit the first one. And let's see, I want this stitch to be in front, so whichever stitch I go into first is going to be in front, so that means I'm going to go into this one, so that's a slip-slip knit. Okay, we're up to the point where it beads, so I'll place the needle. Sounds better than sticking it in. Move up the bead on the pearl side. Whoop, that slipped out. There we go. And these beads are getting in my way. So the penultimate 2 stitches I want to work together. I want this stitch to be in front, so that's the one my needle needs to go into, so that makes this and knit 2 together. And then knit the last one. Okay, so there's my little Christmas tree. I think I need to block this to make it look right, but it's got rows on each side. I could wear it like a little finger puppet, or I could set it down. Let's see, if I set it down, it kind of looks like that if I look at it from the side. Or maybe you can see from the top. Anyway, so I'm going to try to complete the circle. I don't know how often I need to decrease. I'll be winging it. I'll show you what it looks like when it's done, or when I'm ready to bind off. So I decreased every other row, I think twice, and then every row, and I'm going to decrease as I'm binding off on this top row. I found myself wishing I had somehow managed to bead the edges. I think that would have looked nice. Or if I had been able to work in some little colored beads here and maybe do a star on top or something, that would have been nice. I did decide to purl the first 2 stitches, the 2 bracketing stitches, in the row after the last bead, because I didn't want it to get lost. But I actually think that might have been a mistake. No, that's the last bead, and I think that does look nice. Okay, so binding off, I'm going to knit 1. This is how I usually bind off. I knit 1, I put it back, and then I usually knit 2 together through the back loop across, but because I want to decrease in this stitch, I'm going to knit 3 together through the back loop. Put it back. Oh, looks like I've got to do it again. It's not going to be symmetric, but I'm okay with that. Because this is just an experiment. Oh, I should have done an I-cord. Huh. Oh well. Could have made a hanging loop for the top of this. I'm putting it back, knitting 2 together through the back loop. And I caught the yarn somehow. Let me do that again. There we go. Okay, so there's my ornament. Or experiment anyway. There it is. I guess I should take this out. Okay, I'll weave in the ends and be back. And I tried finger blocking it by stretching it really hard in this direction and then this direction. That was a mistake because now these swags are a little bit loose. So I would have to kind of try to squish the stitches up, but I don't know if I can ever get that back the way it ought to be. But still makes a cute little finger puppet. I really could see doing an angel like this. I could see sewing in a star on top, or maybe doing a bead as you go technique on top to put in the star. The other ones I've done only had like 2 rows here, and so there was sort of a minimalist knitting around it, but I kind of like it in the disc. If I did it in small beads and like embroidery floss or something, it might make nice earrings, you know, at like half scale. The angel idea still appeals to me, even though I don't usually do angels. And I'm as an experiment, I'm pretty happy with it. As a actual piece, it leaves a lot to be desired, but that's how it goes. This is a knit cast on with beads. I'm going to make another beaded swag. I'll start with a slip knot. Sometimes I just start with a twist, but so be it. I'm going to try the circle again, so I'm going to put 2 stitches on this side and then do the swag. I usually put them on this way, knitwise. And now I want to bring up 7 beads, or yeah, 7. I think I counted how many I had left. And if I knit the next one on, this is going to close up like a loop. So instead I need an E-cast on. Let's see. I think I want to do it this, no, do it. Well, the beads here seem to be coming from the back, so let me twist it so that the beads on this side are also coming from the back. And then I'll knit on one more. And now I need to knit back. The beads are in back, so all the beads are going to be on the purl side. There's really not enough stitches here to do anything else. So I want to, let's see, do I want to increase yet? No, I don't. I want to purl, I think. Oh wait, they're on the back. No, I want to knit, because the purl side is on the back, so knit. I don't know if that made sense. I'm thinking aloud because I know I do odd things, and if I can express what I'm thinking, I don't know, I guess people could ask questions, and I'll happily explain. Alright, there are the first 2. So I had 7 there. I want to put 6 in this one, because I'm only doing a single layer of beading. I'm doing stockinette. So all the beads are on the same side. It's not 2 sides of beads. And I am beading every row, but I don't think you can do swags if you don't bead every row. Or not a swag triangle. Knit. Knit. And bead caught there, so I want to pop it back out. Okay, so that's what it looks like so far. There's the back. So now I want to turn and purl. Not going to do a slipped edge because there's only 2 stitches. I am going to increase. Oh, I should be increasing every row. Alright, purl with the parent. Now I want to pull out this way, so I want to, how do I do that? I guess I'm purling into the back loop. Purl, place the needle, just did 6, now I want to do 5. Should probably be pulling these very tightly, but can't. So now I want to purl into the parent. So when you purl, the beads are on the front, and then when you turn and knit, they're on the back. And of course you can change that either by purling the stitch right before and after, or by, no, I guess it didn't work here. If you're incorporating beads into regular knit, then you can slip a stitch and set the bead in front. Alright. So I said I wanted to increase every stitch. I'm going to change my mind on that and just do it on the purl sides. So knit. Get the needle there. Bring up the beads. Finish the stitch. Pull it snugly. Trying not to let that bead slip into the stitch. But it did anyway. There we go. Turn, I'm on the purl side, so I'm going to increase. Ooh, I should be increasing next to the swag rather than on the edge. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I want to put the parent up, and I'm going to purl into the back leg, because that gets this stitch coming out in the same way this stitch does. So that was 4, this time I want 3. Let's hope my camera doesn't shut off before I finish. That's why these videos are so choppy right now. I need a different camera, I think. Oh wait, I was going to increase near the swag. Alright, so yeah, it's not working. Oh well. What I should do is mount it this way. I just slipped it knitwise and slipped it back purlwise, and now if I purl into the front loop, I believe, if I can even get the needle in there. Nope. I will just purl the usual way and it'll come out funny, and I'll live with that. Alright, now I'm on the knit side, so I'm not increasing. I just did 3, I'll do 2 this time. There's 3. Bringing up 2 beads all the way to the back. And then completing the stitch, trying to snug it up. Okay, that's what it looks like so far. The beads are not completely flat, but they're much flatter. They're clearly not in 2 pairs of rows the way the garter stitch version was. Okay, so now I want to turn and purl and increase. Alright, there we go. Now I'm going to decrease a couple of times to, no, actually I'm going to knit across, and when I get to here I might cast on one just to give that single bead a little extra room. Yarn over is what I mean. there's my yarn over the single bead to give it a little bit of space so it doesn't get lost in the stitches. Don't know if it's going to work. All the ones I've seen have the 2 layers. No, that's a lie. I have seen patterns with single. Never mind. Okay, I think I just want to knit into, or purl into this. Don't think I want to try to put 2 stitches or anything. Actually, now, I take that back. I'm going to slip the yarn over to give it even more room. More vertical room. And then I'll work it on the next row. Yeah, I think that looks right. Do I want to decrease? Yes. Do I want to decrease from the center or the edge? I think I want to decrease from the edge, and really the edge, I think. So let's see, I want this one in front. So I put my needle into this one first, so that's a slip slip knit. And I think I will just knit across, including that yarn over. And now I want the outside on top, so that's a knit 2 together. Yeah, I'm okay with that. It's an experiment. Do I want to decrease again? I think I don't. I think I want to wait a row and then decrease. Now I take it back. Yeah. I'm going back and forth on this one. Could get the needle in better if I slip it down to the pointy part. You know what? I could do a centered double decrease here. So let's see. That means now I'll do it on the knit side. I can't think straight enough to do it on the purl side. Okay, so I'm back on the knit side. If I do these 2 together, and these 3 together, that should be a nice ending. And then I'll bind off. So that one first, because I want it on top. Alright, centered double decrease. I want this one in front. So I'm going to slip those 2 and then slip. Okay, my camera turned off just at the end there. But I finished decreasing. I ended up with 3 stitches. I did a few rows of I-cord because these edges were curling and I just decided to go with the flow. Ended with a centered double decrease and then knitted that so that I could pull it through and end up with a knot at the top. So there it is stretched out. This is actually what I meant to be the front. Let's see, when these curl around, that does not work as the front, so I probably should have done the purl stitch thing so that this could be the front. But that's not too bad. As it curls around, it kind of pushes these forward. I like the flatness of them. They're not perfectly flat. They're sort of, every other row is a little bit staggered. That's probably uneven knitting on my part. but it's not too bad, and I like it. It's a little bit dimensional, the the because of the curling, not because of the strands. Anyway, so that's a triangle swag. I'll work in the ends some other time. I don't think I'll show those.